Okay, these first two are going to be, we're going to go ahead and draw our XY chart. And what numbers do we put on there? Yep, so -2, -1 is 0, 1, and 2. Okay, and then you're going to turn your calculator on and you're going to type 5 times 2 with the exponent. And then in the exponent, you're going to say -2 to the what? -2 and hit equals. Okay, and what is that?
5 over 4.
Okay, hit the SD button. We need a decimal, not a fraction.
1.25.
1.25?
Negative.
There's no way it's negative.
Oh.
How do I know that's not negative?
Oh, I messed something up.
That's okay. Okay, so this is a 0 line. Okay, so I know that it can't be negative because then it would have to go down below and it wouldn't be on the graph. Okay, you're going to change your -2 to a -1. What is that? 2.50. Change the -1 to a 0. 5. Okay, change the 0 to a 1. 10. And then the 2. 20. Okay, how do we know that this is growth anyways? It does go up, but even without the numbers, I knew it was growth. Okay, so it's growth depending on the number that's next to the x. We'll tell you if it's growth. What number is next to the x? 2. So if that number is bigger than 1, it's growth. Meaning that, remember, my graph should look like this. Okay, growth. Okay, if the number next to the x is smaller than 1, okay, it's going to be decay. Okay, so my numbers look like they're growing. Okay, so we're going to start with our pencil here on -2 line, and we're going to go up to what? $1.25. Okay, we're going to go up to $1.25. Okay, and then you're going to go over to the -1 line, and you're going to go up to what? $2.50, and we're going to put a dot. And then you're going to go over to the 0 line, and you're going to go up to what? 5. You're going to go over to the 1 line and go up to 10. And over to the 2 line and go up to 20. Okay, so you guys plot them. I'm not even plotting them because all you do is try to copy. Okay, especially with the decay ones. Okay, can you tell exactly where 1.25 is on there? No, that's not like, you can kind of tell roughly, but there's not like a set spot. Okay, so if I put mine on there, then it's a guarantee you guys try to copy. So I'm not even putting them on there. Okay. If you don't know how to graph them, please let me know. I will gladly. Some of you guys I like held your hand and we graphed it, and then you were good. Okay. So if you need a little extra help for graphing, that's all right. Okay. Look at number 3. You're gonna hit your fraction button, and you're gonna say 1/3, and then you need to hit over. The over button, and hit your fraction button again. Well, you need to hit a parentheses. Okay. Over times parentheses and fraction. Okay, and you're going to start with a -2 in there. A -2 in there.
16.3.
16.33.
Yes.
Okay.
2.33.
2.33.
Yes.
Okay.
0.33.
Okay. And then the 2.
0.00.
Okay. So normally, how many decimal places do we use? 2, right? So we said like $1.25 or $16.33. Okay. The one that's on 2 is 0.00, which is pretty much nothing. So 0.006 in terms of money is less than money. Maybe you have like a piece of a penny that got like chipped off of a regular penny. Is essentially what's happening. Okay, so there's no money there. Okay, and so again, this is why I don't graph, because if I graph, all of these ones are going to be somewhere less than 1. So they're going to be below this line. Okay, so they might be something like that, or they might be super close. Okay, and so those three are going to be below that line. So there's no really like set spot for them because it's so small. Okay, which is why I don't graph them. Okay, so you guys graph them, but there's no right or wrong. $16, yeah, we can do somewhere around the 16 line. Okay, $2, you can do somewhere around the 2 line. All of these are just less than 1. Okay, they're going to be less than 1. Okay, number 5, it says state if each sequence is geometric. Okay, how do we find out if it's geometric?
If it's all like multiplied by the same number.
If it's multiplied by the same number, okay? So you're going to say negative 48 divided by negative 12. What is that? 4. Okay, negative 12 divided by negative 4. 3. So is this geometric? No. Okay, they would all have to be the same number.
I already wrote that.
Good job. Okay, find the common ratio. They're saying it is geometric. You just need to figure out what it is. Okay, so you just can check the first one. Negative 500 divided by 100. Negative 5. Okay, number 9 says determine if it's geometric. Okay, so our first answer is going to be either yes or no. Okay, determine if it's geometric. If it is, find the common ratio. Okay, and then find the next 3 terms. So part 1, there's 3 parts here. Okay, if we say no, it's not geometric, you can't answer any of the other parts. Okay, if this is a yes, you should answer all 3 parts. Okay, so is this geometric? You need to check each piece. So negative 108 divided by negative 36. 3. Negative 36 divided by negative 12. 3. And then negative 12 divided by negative 4 is 3. So is this geometric? So my answer is yes. What is my common ratio? 3. Okay, so my ratio is 3. So I'm just going to say R. Well, my ratio is 3. And then my part 3 of that is to find the next 3 terms. Okay, so you're going to say negative 108 times what? Times 3. And what is that? 324. Okay, so you're going to say negative 324 times 3. Negative 992. 972. And then you're going to take that times 3. 7916.
No, it's 2916.
2916. Like that. Okay. Okay, so these ones have 3 parts. Okay, they have 3 parts. Okay, find the term named. Let's see, who remembers the formula? It does start with an A. Okay, so we get A times what?
R?
R. Okay, then what?
Can I get a hint?
It has a 1 somewhere.
It does have, so it goes n minus 1.
Oh.
Okay. What does the A stand for? The first one. Okay, so if we're looking at number 11, what is the very first number that they have listed? 3. So my A is 3. Okay, so we say 3 times, what is my ratio? What do we multiply every time by? Look at the numbers that they have listed.
2.
2. Okay, so we'd say 24 divided by 12 give us 2. 6 divided by 12 is 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so we're going to say 2 to the n is what? What's my n? 12. That's the one that they gave us. It said find a 12. Okay, so we're going to say 12 minus 1. Okay, so we just typed that in our calculator. Okay, there's no like math there. If you can figure out the formula, then we should be golden. Okay, and so what is that? 6144. We got 4 left. Okay, number 13. Number 13. What can you tell me about that? What does a minus do, first of all? Makes it open down. So we already know just from the gate that it makes it open down. What is the x squared? We talked about it. What's the x squared? Remember, what's the x squared? That's the mommy and daddy, remember? Where does the mommy and daddy start? At 0, 0. Okay, and we know that it opens downwards. Okay, so from the mommy and daddy, from the 0, 0, then what do we do? But it's not up because what? There we go, it's down 1 over 1 because of the minus. So we're going to down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Then what do we do? Down 4 over 2 from where though?
0, 0.
From 0, 0. And what is the first point you make called? Let's see who really is.
The vertex.
There you go. Okay, so it's called the vertex. How do you know if something's a quadratic? How do you know if it's a quadratic? Okay, look at all of the problems on this page. What is the one thing they all have in common?
They all have one.
Well, okay, there's multiple things in common. Okay, they all do have a y. What else do they all have?
Exponent.
They have an exponent of 2. Okay, so anything with an exponent of 2, meaning the highest one, is a quadratic. Okay, so this whole majority of this section was quadratics. Okay. We had the quadratic formula. This is graphing quadratics in vertex form. We got graphing quadratics in standard form. Okay, so there's lots of quadratics on here. If it has a baby 2, it's a quadratic. Okay, look at 15. Where do we start our pencil? 0, 0. What does this plus 2 do on the outside?
Makes it go up to.
That goes to our up and down. So we're going to go up 2 because it's a plus. What does a plus 2 on the inside do? It goes to the left 2 because it's a plus, but normally, yes, it goes left and right. Okay, so after we do these first 2 shifts, we go ahead and make our vertex. Okay, so we already know that that's going to be our dot. Okay, what else can you tell me about this graph? Does it open up or down? It opens down with a slope of what? 2, right? It has 2. Okay, so we're going to go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Okay, and then how many points do we always have to plot? We have to plot 5. So at this point, you can't really graph too much more. So we would have to plug in. What are the 2 options that we get to plug into our calculator? What's the 2 options? Look at your graph. Close, but
-5 and 1.
-4 and what? And 0. Okay? So each time our graph gets a little bit bigger. So look at this one. Okay, we started at 0, and then it went on the 1 line, and then it went on the 2 line. Okay, or it went from 0 on the -1 line, and then it went on the -2 line. Okay, so this one starts out on the -2 line, and then it went to -1, and then it would go to 0. It would go from -2 to -3 to -4. So it does not matter. I would probably do the 0 just because I think it's going to be easier. But so you're going to take this and put in a 0 right here where the x is at. So on your calculator, you're going to say -2 parentheses 0 plus 2, close parenthesis, a squared, so an exponent of 2, plus 2. Okay. What number do you get? -6. Okay, so it's going to be on -6 on both sides. Okay, so you're going to go over 1 on both sides and then go down to 6. Okay, the only reason you have to do that is because the slope changed. Any other time, if the number out front is a 1, we just do down 1 over 1, okay, down 4 over 2. But because there was a number, and most of you guys could probably get the first 3 dots, you may not be able to get the last one, but it's nothing hard, but it's just a matter of remembering. Okay, 17, there's no parentheses, so that is standard form, so that's the one you're going to use a formula. What is that formula? Who remembers? It looks like this. Woo.
Isn't it up there negative b with plus or minus or something?
Wait.
There's a negative b.
Negative b over 2a.
There we go. Okay, so negative b over 2a. Okay, what's my b on 17? What's my b? 8 over 2, what's my a? 1. Okay, so you're going to type that in your calculator and see what you get. -8 over 2, and then a 1. What do we get for that? -4. So -4 is going to go here. Okay, then what do we do? Plug it in. So everywhere up here, okay, that there's a -4, we're going to plug that in. Okay, so it should really look like -4 squared plus 8, -4 plus 18. Okay, we kind of talked about what's an easier way to do that. If you suck at plugging stuff in, what's the easiest way to do that? Anybody remember? Write out the equation. Everywhere there's an x, you could use your pencil and just erase, and then put parentheses, -4. Okay, you have to use the parentheses. Okay, so what number do you guys get for that?
2.
2? Okay, and so this is our vertex then. Okay, that's our vertex. Okay, and keep in mind when we do these, this one goes to the left or right, this one does our up and down. Okay, as far as coordinates go. So we're going to go to the left 4 and then up 2. Okay, after that vertex, then what do we do? Up 1 over 1, and then what? Up 4 over 2, okay? Okay, last one is the quadratic formula. If you know that you didn't write it on review 1, I would definitely write it on review 2. But, okay, so again, you can write out the whole really long formula and then just use your pencil, and everywhere there's an A, you can erase it and put your number. Okay, everywhere there's a B, we can erase it and put our number. Okay, so if you need to do it that way, if you can just plug it in, look at it, and write it out, then that's fine too. So we got negative. What is my B value? 12. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 12 squared minus 4. What is my a? What's my a? It's just 1. What's my c? Negative 133. What's the 0? Nothing. Okay, the 0 means nothing as far as when we're looking at that. That means solve it. That's really what the 0 means. Okay, so we do the first part of the 12 first. What is that minus 12? What's that going to give you? a negative 12 for the front. Okay, what about the bottom? 2 with the parentheses 1. 2 means 2 times 1. Okay, so 2. Okay, you're going to type in everything underneath of the house. So parentheses, 12, close parentheses, squared, all that stuff, but not the house. Everything underneath the house, but not the house. Okay. What does that give you? 676. Does somebody agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so 676. Okay, and now we hit our house button. Okay, hit the radical. And we're going to say radical 676. What would that give you? 26. So it's really going to look like negative 12 plus or minus 26 over 2. Okay, and then what do we do? Negative 12 plus 26 over 2. And today is just for the sheet. I'm going to write it twice, but you definitely don't need to. So it's really going to look like negative 12 plus 26 over 2, and then negative 12 minus 26 over 2. Okay, you're going to be typing it in your calculator twice. So the plus is 7, okay, and negative 19 for the minus?
Yep.
Okay, do we leave it as a fraction or a decimal? If we had a fraction or a decimal? We do it as a fraction. Okay, so we do it as a fraction if we have a fraction for an answer. Okay. However, if you're doing it as a decimal, I'm not gonna mark it wrong, but as long as your decimal's right. Okay, you guys.